Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the Macchi M.C 72. In the 1910s, 20s and early 30s, the race for the Schneider Trophy saw an explosion in engine and aircraft design to push the limits of technology and which would ultimately greatly benefit fighter design for the looming Second World War. The trophy was eventually won for Britain by the Supermarine S6b in 1931. But aircraft design continued, and the Italian Macchi M.C 72 broke the world speed record in 1933 and 1934. It still holds the world record for a piston-powered float plane at 430 miles per hour. So onto the model of the MC 72, which is provided for free from Canon Creative Park website. I'll put a link in the description. You can print this up on either A4 or letter-sized paper, and I recommend 160 gram weight for this. Canon class the model as reasonably difficult, and I can attest to that, but if you take your time, you should be able to make a better model than I finished up with. You can also download the instructions in PDF format. Let's start with the first instruction diagram. This makes the nose out of rings and reinforced with a strengthened former. So of course I start with the obvious, cutting out the elements, scoring and shaping. Because the elements are put together with an overlapping join, it's essential to colour the edges so they're less easily seen. Okay, ready for assembly. Unlike many other models where formers are glued to stiffer cardstock, the formers here are made up of 3 layers of paper. Glued a small tab to the front piece so it's easier for me to handle. The second diagram is a continuation of the nose with the addition of the base of the wing. Now this is getting more difficult to keep in line. This is only the first stage of frustration with the model. The model would benefit having an internal keel running the full length of the fuselage that you could line up the skins so that it stays straight. But at this stage, I don't realise how bad it can get. The model is going to be tail heavy, so it needs some weight in the nose to balance things up. Once that's done, I stuff the empty space with some tissue to give the assembly some form and strength. Okay, let's start the wings. The MC-72 is a very colourful aircraft with its striking red and gold livery. Of course, the gold parts are in fact radiators to deal with the heat from the massive engines. Here lies one of my mistakes. The radiators are in fact corrugated. I should at this stage emboss the darker lines on the radiators to give them that corrugated texture. And I do just that on the float areas and it looks great. I just wish I'd thought about it at this stage. This looks a bit more complicated. These are the box structures which strengthen the wings and incorporate some wing ribs. The wing ribs are a bit strange, cutting out all the tabs, which are supposed to glue to the internal surface of the wings. For anybody following this and who want to make their own model, my advice is not to bother. Cutting all the tabs takes up a lot of time and isn't necessary. Just cut off the tabs and glue the ribs to thick card. It'll do the same job. Right, this is another mistake in the making. Actually, I'm going to call all my mistakes learning exercises. Sounds better, doesn't it? So anyway, with hindsight, at this stage, I should insert a thick wooden dowel through the box structure to act as a spar to super strengthen the wing. Again, you'll see why later. So this is where I complete the wings and also construct the back legs for the floats. So in goes the wing box, minus that essential wooden dowel. Right, the wings are set and it's all nicely flat. Notice that the wingtips are a little dented. It doesn't look good, so I decided to stuff them with some tissue. That's much better. Back to the instructions. The legs are little box structures glued onto a wing bracket. we carry on with the body. Here I'm just cutting out a tab in the former so I can more easily grip it. If you think there's a risk of bending those legs, then you are absolutely right. And that's the end of the first video in the build of the Macchi M72. Thanks for sticking with me so far. In the next video, I'll finish off the fuselage with its simple cockpit and tricky tail, and I'll also delve into the history and why this aircraft was so innovative. So, I'll see you there. Bye for now.